Oi.
Oh, well, sorry, we're talking to each other. Are we on, Trev, now? Red light's on. It's day 2 of the Linköping Beer Expo, and I've managed to grab hold of a very special guest, actually. A gentleman, I must say, that supported BeerSweden from the very early days. In fact, you were one of the first guys to actually send me beer.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I probably broke the law in doing so. Don't matter.
No, I didn't.
No, you didn't actually. Turns out you didn't, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
It's been a real pleasure for you to for us to learn about your brewery over the months that we've been having BeerSweden. Peter Forss from Sigtuna Brygghus, of course. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you.
When I saw you, I knew that I wanted to get you up here to our little studio, that we've sort of makeshift studio here, because I wanted to ask you a few questions. Because of all the microbrewers here in Sweden right now, it's a really booming scene. I think Sigtuna is one of the biggest shakers and movers that's sort of happened in the last 12 months. And I'd like to sort of ask you, there's a lot of talk on the beer vine about Sigtuna, and a lot of talk about craft beer here. There's lots happened at your brewery. Tell us about what's gone on over the last 6 months or so.
Okay. Well, I would say 12 months. Because,
12?
Yeah, because we decided to move from being a kind of hobby home brewing company to be professional craft brewers. Mm. And of course, one of the steps was to hire some good staff like Mattias Hammerlind, the brewmaster. Mm. But we also need equipment, and we need distribution. And we need some sales operations, and we had a lot of discussions with colleagues and investors, and finally we made an agreement with Galatea, and I think that was great for us because we got a lot of money. So right now
we need to explain probably, Galatea, who Galatea are. Galatea are obviously one of the leading, I think probably the biggest beer portfolio of any importer of beers and spirits and wines into Sweden. Yeah. So they are in effect an importer of alcohol into Sweden. That's right. Yeah.
Okay. So they gave us a lot of money, so to speak, and we are buying equipment for them. Yeah. With some tanks from China and brand new brewery from Germany. Yeah. So I would say before midsummer this year, we will have 2 breweries at Sigtuna. Okay. In the same factory. Yeah. The old one and the new one. Okay. So in terms of size, the old Sigtuna, if we call it that, how big was that in terms of production capacity? Well, we pressed the limit all the time. Okay. But last year we did about 220,000 liters of beer. Right. And the new brewery? And the new brewery will, we say, at least 800,000 liters. Okay. But quadruple. I would say it's possible to make 1.3 billion liters with the new equipment. So you've really blown the brewery up. Yeah. Okay, so the brewery itself, so you're going to retain the old Sigtuna equipment? Yeah. Is that going to be a working brewery? Is it become more like a pilot brewery? Is it going to be an experimental brewery? Is it? Yeah. Or actually, the new brewery, we will make big batches, like I would say 3,000 or 6,000 liters a day. Yeah. And it will be the main brands like Sigtuna, East River Lager, and South Pacific Pale Ale, etc. But also some of Galatea's brands like St. Erik's Pale Ale. Okay. But the old brewery will make it possible for us to make experiments, innovations, like new batches of Ace of Spades or whatever we will call it. Okay. So we will have one part that we can do innovations, and one that will be cost-effective production brewery. So I've got a question for you, because in terms of the brewery itself, and in terms of, and I don't want this to sound the wrong way, but brewers that I know are artists. We talk about the craft of brewing, and they obviously have their own idea and passion, and that's all translated through their beers.
So you've effectively got Matthias Hamilton. He's your head brewer, yeah?
Yeah, he is.
And he's responsible for a lot of the great beers that have come out of Sigtuna over the last 12 months, almost 2 years now.
Yeah.
But then you've got obviously with Galatea, of course, they've got their own brands as well. So you will have Jessica, I presume Jessica Heinrich going to be coming in and brewing the St. Erik's range. And then I presume you've got Stefan Gustafsson coming in as well with the Mohawk series.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got 3 brewers. I'm thinking about chefs and spoiling the food. Is there going to be a clash of characters in a brewery when it's got 3 brewers in it?
I don't think so. Of course, there could be just one man could be the leader.
Yeah.
And that would be Matthias Hamilton.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But I think that he could work very well together with Jessica.
Yeah.
And I think that as it looks now, Jessica and the brand St. Erik's will be a high volume brand.
Yeah.
So they will need the new brewery to make the beer. And I think the Mohawk is specialized on very specialized beer.
Very unusual styles as well, so it's quite niche.
Like the 2 Easter beers and different seasonal beer, and we could make that beer in the old one. So I think it could be perfect match.
Yeah. Okay, so it's an interesting constellation. I can't think really of any other brewery that comes to mind that I know of internationally that has that kind of constellation of brewers. So it could be quite an interesting proposition.
And I'm happy. We have if I could say so, we have the queen on brewers.
Yes, of course. Yeah, no. Actually, Jessica is definitely the queen of brewing here in Scandinavia, in Sweden. Absolutely.
And I think that Matthias wants to be the king.
Yes.
Well, he's not really, because I think Björn at Oppengård is the real king.
Yes.
But he's challenged by Matthias.
Yes.
And Stefan Gustafsson is some kind of prince.
Yes.
So we have the royal
wonderful
court.
way of putting it.
You
have the royal court.
Yeah, we have.
You do.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Now listen, in terms of there is obviously, and I appreciate you giving a very honest answer, and you've said that you just asked the questions. So I'll ask you one. In terms of the every time a brewery gets to a certain size and goes from something that people think of craft beer as being a small, obviously hand-produced product, or could be in a shed, has been done, but the minute you become obviously of a certain size, like you've done, you've quadrupled your capacity. There is always the accusation, the inference that you've sold out, and that the brewery itself and the character and all the essence of what you bought Sigtuna beers for will be lost. What do you say about that?
Well, I think that 2 ways to prevent it. One is that we, the founders and the owners of Sigtuna, we want Sigtuna Brygghus to be a rock and roll brewery, as it is. Well, we want it to be a rock and roll brewery. And the second line is that it's not possible to be a mainstream brewery for us, because that market is already occupied. I mean, Spendrup is there, a lot of international companies is there, Carlsberg is there, and we can never compete with them. So our way of success is to be innovative, to make special brews, to be a rock and roll brewery. That's the only way to success. We could never compete, even if Sigtuna is going to be big, but we are as big as that compared with Carlsberg or Spendrup.
So what, I mean, a lot's happened. The brewery's obviously increased massively in terms of size. You've got, as you say, the Royal Call to Brewing here in Sweden. That's fantastic. I like that. What's the game plan? What's the vision? What's going to happen for the next 12 months at Sigtuna?
Well, the guys at the brewery, they will learn how to treat the new equipment.
Yeah.
And I think we calculated 800,000 liters, but I think we could make 1.3, and I'm sure that in a year the guys have showed that we can make 1.5 liters. So I think this coming year we will provide a lot of new beers, and I think you will like it because it will be a lot about rock and roll. And the next step is to export. We're preparing to export from Sigtuna to other countries like the United States, but even to China. So
it's wonderful to hear.
Yeah, we are not ready for that yet, but we are preparing. So we will continue to be a rock and roll brewery, and we will do export too.
Well, I think that's good news. I'm delighted, obviously, that the Swedish the brewing scene's beginning to look beyond Swedish borders, because I think obviously there's a whole world out there looking forward to drinking these types of beers. And I think, I know that obviously drinking beers outside and coming back to Sweden, that the beers in this country are pretty damn good these days. And I think we can actually go quite proudly out there and mix it up. Absolutely. Listen, we've got here a very unusual beer, special beer. First time we tried this. It's just I think brewed first time it's been on keg at this festival. It's a summer IPA, 7%. So this is really quite sort of thick and beautiful citrus hit here. A lot of American hops in this one. So I'd like to say, Peter, thanks very much for joining us. I think we'll finish off with the customary, as it is these days. Cheers a bit.
Cheers.